What is up, world? BakermanBrad here, and today I'm going to be showing you a little bit of a sneak peek for one of the newest expansions from ArcheAge. And they were giving me a little bit of a tour of their grand castle and a lot of the other little things that they've got for us, which are actually not that little. Well, some of them might start that way. But anyways, we'll be taking a look at Ascension, which is ArcheAge's newest expansion that is actually pretty big. Let's take a look at that. Now, I'm really only going to be able to scratch the surface of what Ascension is doing, but I can say that the overall focus is on making the quality of life and playability of the end-game version of ArcheAge really just stand out and explode into popularity, because what they've got going on here is phenomenal. After you've captured a location that is in the new region of the map, which we'll talk about in a second, you can then begin to create these elaborate guild halls and have all of these player-driven economies, and you can have the market and all of these other phenomenal items that really add to creating a guild like you'd actually want. And a lot of times you want some, you go into a game and you find some area that you can kind of set up shop, and it just feels like that's the best you got. Well, they have gone and made it to where you can literally create an amazing guild area in the northern region of Auroria, which I've heard rumors that they had been rumoring was going to happen, but that's here nor there. So there's 4 points in the northern region per server that can be controlled, and then also can ally themselves with either side of the main war in the main game. But that's not what I'm going to get into, because we're talking about Ascension, not ArcheAge. But anyways, in each server, all 4 points can be controlled, and all 4 can be contested. Now, another cool thing that they have added in this is the equipment encyclopedia. Have you ever picked up an item and then wondered what it stacks up against any other item out there? Well, now you can go through and look up literally any item and figure that out. On top of that, this is the tier 3 area, but you have markets and resources that can be gathered by civilians that don't even have to belong to your map. You can have them go to all of these structures to get upgrades, and all of these, again, player-driven resources and economic abilities that eventually lead you to getting this cute little guy, the Wyvern, who right now looks like a derpy little dragon that's gonna be one of those, cutesy little things that doesn't do anything, right? That's what you're thinking? Well, you could not be more wrong. This little guy becomes a monster, and I do literally mean a monster. He is enormous. He is as large as any of these houses on there, except for maybe the castle itself. Okay, obviously I'm exaggerating that, but each of these castles and each guild of these can have a wyvern that is flown by the lord of this area. And so imagine having 4 of these fire-breathing behemoths going into epic battle against each other in a server. I don't think there's been a war on that scale ever. This is huge. And again, that pun was intended. But on top of giant wyverns, giant castles, giant guilds, and also being a benevolent lord and throwing gold all over the place, which is quite a fun little thing to do after you've gathered all these resources, you kind of go to your neighbor's house and say, hey, you know what? Thanks for being a champ. And here you go, paying it back. But I digress. There's a new armor tier, there's siege modes, there's a whole bunch of things, and that's just in the area that you can fight other players. Outside of that, there's also the Mistmarrow Basin, which is where the Crimson counterattack will happen. And normally you're here just to fight other people, but this time at the end of that, you band together to face Kadoom, who is a giant boss, one of the biggest ones that they've added, and he's a monster. He's definitely not playing around. I don't know where the lava comes from the ground, but hey, I'm not gonna ask questions. I think we just need to kill this guy. But with that said, this has been BakermanBrad giving you a tiny sneak peek of what's going on. Feel free to take a look at the game profile page on MMOHuts and on ArcheAge's game page, but I'm gonna leave you with one last little tidbit. The biggest, baddest boss yet, Taurus.
Do you dare to silence the blood song? You'll pay. Taurus will make you pay!